Grand rising or grand setting, beautiful star blossoms, wherever you are in this big, wide, beautiful world. Tonight I want to talk to you about earth healing. As part of my walk, I've been called to many different places in Australia, and which I don't mind doing because I absolutely love travelling, because travelling allows you to see the country and to see what is out there and explore. And I just love it. So as part of my earth walk, I didn't know it back then when I first started opening up to my gifts and understanding who I am. One of the things that called me was all these different places in the world that were calling and just needing work done to them. Now, most of my time has been spent in Australia doing the work that is required in Australia, because that is part of what I do. But you can tell when you walk onto a piece of land whether the magic is strong there or not. And the magic that I have transitioned through while walking this great country of ours has shown me where the land needs healing or where it doesn't need healing. And it's okay. You will know, because it is a feeling, a vibration, a knowing, the inner knowing. When I've walked onto a piece of land, I can tell instantly whether it needs healing or not. And when I do, it's just this overwhelming tingling sensation. Sometimes it's more than a tingling sensation. Sometimes it's you just stand somewhere and you just know something's happened and it needs to be cleared. So I get to and I do what needs to be done. Now, some of the places I've been, it's been quite dense with these unhealthy energies that have just lingered, that have remained. And I call them echoes of voices past, because you can feel the difference. However, you just don't know what it is. Now, I know all around the world that there has been tragedies and all sorts of things going on, but they leave an imprint. And the imprint eventually will need to be cleared. Now, whether you work with ley lines or song lines or whatever it is that you do for yourself, I want to congratulate you and I want to commend you and I want to say thank you, because the work you do is very much unseen. Yeah, it's the behind the scenes stuff that people don't understand. Well, It's because I didn't understand it at first either. With this earth walk, I remember one place that I went to. Now, Kalgoorlie. I am going to name the place Kalgoorlie. And Kalgoorlie has a rich history of tragedy. Underground mining, open cut mining, deaths, plagues, you name it. It has seen its fair share. And I was in this hotel, and this hotel had a rich history of ghosts. Now, I know it's a bit different from land clearing and healing. However, it's still a part of this story. And I remember sitting in this spot one day, and I just went icy cold. I couldn't warm up no matter what I did. And kind of freaked me out a little bit because I didn't know about this stuff. And yeah, I'd move out of the spot and I'd warm up, and then I'd go and sit back to where I was I was sitting with friends this particular time. And I moved back to sit down in my seat again because everybody avoided it like the plague. I was like, okay, what is going on here? And I'm talking to my friends, and I'm like, anybody know what's going on here? This spot is absolutely freezing. But as soon as I walk out of it, I can warm up again. And they're all like, no. Nobody knew the history. Nobody knew that this particular spot wasn't a ghost. It was the imprint left behind, energetic imprint left behind by an actual person who lived at this hotel. And they'd sit in that one exact same spot night after night, day after day. And I'm getting goosebumps just thinking of it. I came to learn later on in life that it was an energetic imprint, and this energetic imprint had stayed around for decades. I think it was it'd been a century since that person had actually last sat in that spot. But this just gives you an indication as to what you're dealing with when you're working with the land, because many different energetic imprints are left behind. Now, if there's, let's say for instance, we're talking war at the moment, and there's lots of trauma left behind. There's lots of sadness and grief. Fear is another one that's left behind. There's many emotions that have been trapped. And it's our responsibility as human beings to take care of Mother Earth. And when we take care of Mother Earth takes care of us. So what I normally do is I'd sit on a spot. I call in my team. I ask the spirits of the land that have been left behind or trapped in this. I'm getting to tell you, it's a time loop. They're trapped in a time loop. And that time loop just, it never ends for them. So, for instance, if it was a stockman had found an Aboriginal family or an outlaw or something like that, and they killed them, then that energetic imprint is left there, and I'll ask the spirits of what happened to come in and communicate to me what exactly happened so that we can work through what's going on and actually send them on and cross them over and then clear the land. So there was this one time I was working with another fellow shaman, absolutely amazing man, and we had to go to 3 different locations. It was a triangle. It was in the wheat belt here in Western Australia. So we started off in one town, we went to the next town, and we went to the last town, and then we ended up at our starting point, and it was a triangle. And each of them there had a different story. Now, the first story was the local tribe of this particular town. There was a big watercourse. There is still a big watercourse there, and we went and sat on the riverbank, and all these spirits came in. What had happened is this tribe had been driven into the water, and of course none of them could swim. They didn't know what swimming was because they only fished on the water and hunted on the land and drank the water. So they came in, they told us our story, and I sat there and I counselled them because what had happened, they all died in fear. And it didn't allow them the ability to be able to move forward, which then kept them in a time loop, which then kept them stuck at this one particular spot. So by the time this counselling had finished, all of this tribe had healed and they were crossed over back to their ancestors. And the absolute love that came from that interaction was just absolutely amazing. Then we moved on to the next town. We found the next spot. we had to go down this embankment. We had to climb through all this scrub to get to the bank of the river we needed to be at. And we found our spot. We sat down, and you could just feel all these spirits just peeking out and looking at you. The birds' songs changed. The water started to sparkle. And the water was flowing downstream, but the ripples were coming upstream. Oh, I've got chills just talking about it. And what had happened is this river was a very popular swimming spot. But again, people didn't know the waters, they didn't know the currents, they didn't know how to freshen properly, and they'd lose footing, they'd fall in, or, whatever the case was. So all these spirits just started coming forth that had drowned in the river or been killed in the area. So again, there was a lot of counselling, a lot of I'm sorry's, so that these spirits could cross over and this particular waterway could heal, because it had seen so much tragedy and deaths. So So we finish where we were and we close up sacred space. We go back to the car and we find our way to the next town. And it was pretty well much the same thing there, the same theme through the three towns where the tribe had been marched into the water, and because they couldn't swim, they drowned, or people just didn't understand the water and went for a dip to cool down and were swept away and passed away in the river. And this particular part of the river that we went to had algae bloom. It wasn't nice at all. So we sat there, we talked, we did a lot of counselling for a lot of the spirits that had crossed over there. They were all guided over, they were all sent back and crossed over. But at the end, before we could leave, I had to do a blessing with the water. So I did my blessing with the water, and it was about 6 months later. There was this huge downpour in that particular town, which then helped to move a lot of that algae bloom through the waterway and away from the town. We ended up going back to the point of start, and that's where we stayed. Not stayed, but that's where we finished up. So other times I've just had to go and sit on the land and just sit and wait. And then in that sitting and waiting, you feel the spirits come to you. They're drawn to the light that you emit because they are looking for, I guess the word that keeps springing to mind is absolution, but you just need to be able to forgive yourself. But if you died in tragic circumstances or anything like that, then you're going to be trapped in that time loop, and you're going to need counselling to be able to go back to your loved ones back in spirit. So that's what a lot of the earth walk is that I do, is I do a lot of work with the spirits of the land that are calling. And how the lands have thrived and survived and regenerated after all of that. It's just been absolutely beautiful and amazing to see. And you can feel sadness of the land. Sometimes it's not just that. Sometimes you've just got to clear a ley line. And the ley line's clogged because the amount of energy that's travelling through it. So you go to the ley line. You might be drawn. You don't know what's there. You don't understand what's going on. But you're standing in this one spot and it just feels bleh. Yep, you heard it. Because it's so clogged with energy, it just needs like a drain cleaner, and you're the drain cleaner. And you can sing to it, drum, musical instruments, organs. There's a variety of different methods nowadays, but back when I started, I just had my drum, I had a rain stick, and me and my voice. And I used to sing to it. I do every now and then when I'm alone. Even now when I travel around, I travel with a team that is outside of my car. And they're going through and gathering up the lost souls or those that have been killed in a variety of different methods. And when I stop, we do healing with them, we do cleansing, and then we cross them over. I have got lots of good memories of doing this work, and I'm looking forward to getting back on the road again and doing some more work with, the land. And I've lived in many different places and I never knew why. Because they have needed healing. I might be only there for 3 months. I might only be there for a month. I might even be only there for a couple of days. But it doesn't matter how long you're there for. So long as you are there and you're listening to the land and you are doing the work, then you are playing your most beautiful part in bringing healing to the world and for the world. So if you are ever guided or felt the pull to go to a very specific place all the time, take note, because that is the land calling you and pulling you back and drawing you back because it's needing healing. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. Every part of all lands and on all continents need healing of some description. Whether it be war, massacre, old age. It matters not. Mining. It matters not where you go nor what you do. So long as you listen, sit still, and help those that are calling for help. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I wish you the most amazing day, night, or morning, wherever you are in this big, wide, beautiful world, Star Blossoms. Thank you for watching and follow along for more insights and stories. I love you so much. Mwah. Bye.